Did your mic just cut out?
I did?
Just way more quiet than you were 2
Oh.
seconds ago.
I didn't touch
Now you're
anything.
back. Now you're back.
Oh, must have just been my connection.
Must have been the wind.
Okay, so it's what?
They don't have a time for Thursday yet.
This says Schefter posted Thursday at 5:35 Pacific time.
So that's 8:30.
Or yeah, but why would he post it in? Unless that's 5:35 Australia time. So I thought it was gonna be in the morning. Let's get to the bottom of this.
Oh, because you're Googling stuff on your laptop. I was like, oh, you're just slowly degenerating. I was like, let me do some Googling.
Oh no. So games at 10:30 a.m. in Australia.
Yeah. Okay, that tracks.
But it's
AEST.
Thursday
EST.
night. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's Friday in the morning for where they're playing. Anyways,
correct.
all right, that's good. We can get that going. Are we not streaming? All right, we are streaming.
And then is there a game Friday night too?
That's well, I don't think so, but we'll have to discuss. We'll discuss that.
Okay,
'Cause I don't think that's been announced yet.
got it.
Tagging everyone when we're live every time in Discord. All like 40 people. Your mom's Insta did numbers.
It hit.
Yeah, 17 likes on Instagram. That's like our most liked Instagram.
Yeah. Good
I
for
bet
my
TikTok.
mom.
I wonder what TikTok has to say about it. They're probably like, "Fuck your mom."
I'll have to
Fuck your
check. I
mom."
wonder.
They're probably like, "Your mom's an idiot." Oh my goodness.
These guys don't know ball.
Yeah, your mom. You put your mom on the mic. Get the podcast equipment out of here. Put your
37 likes on TikTok.
There you go.
And only one comment that says DM me your post. Heart, heart, heart from podcast influencer.
No.
We're clean of the hater.
Can't she DM herself my post? Our post?
What's up?
Can't she DM herself our post?
I don't know, man.
All right. You ready to get rolling?
Yes.
Let me put on Snapchat. I got the kid for the Phillies.
What? Oh, Painter?
Yeah, it costed me
Nice.
Trevor Story though. I was very sad. I started yelling at the commission. I didn't get anybody, and it was, I had to like deep dive and look through who I got, like because there were so many transactions this morning that it was like you could barely tell who got who.
What happened? They like added bench spots after the
Right? Yeah,
draft.
because like so we're midway through the draft, and I was like, 'cause I wanted Trout, I wanted Story, I wanted all the goats, and
Yeah.
but like they
Story's
were all
not the
going
goat.
undrafted, but and they I'm looking at the bench size. I'm like, fuck, like I want to get some younger guys that are actually gonna play, not some injured guys. And I was like, where are the extra bench spots? I said that like halfway through the draft. He's like, shit, the commish, and he's like, oh, let me try. And we couldn't do it during the draft, so we had to do it
Right.
after the draft, and then everyone's stuck on waivers. So oh well, it was interesting. I mean, and it's a $5 buy-in, so it's like nobody really cares. I said in the thing, I said because it looked like I guess I put in 8 claims because that's how many bench spots we had, or 9 claims.
Mm.
It seemed I guess it looked like from the thing people put in like 20 claims, uh, for just like backups on backups. And
Mm.
so I'm looking in the chat and I text the thing. I'm like, well, 3 guys have a chance. Have fun with your $50. Like, it's just like, and then when I settled down, I was like, oh, I did get a guy. Like, let me settle down. And he's like, the commission's like, Yeah, see, come on, calm down. I was like, look, to be honest, I'm just not the commish of this league. I wanted to yell at the commish for a little bit. Oh, Mike cares. Mike's in our league. Mike's dad's in
Nice.
our league too. Shout out Joe. He's trying to take. I was
Nice.
like, he took Trevor Story, and I was like, I want Mr. Joe. I want Trevor Story, and he's like, give me Justin Holiday. I was like, no, no, I'm not I would have drafted Trevor. Like I drafted Holiday. I would have given you to Holiday. I would have drafted Story over Holiday. All right,
Yeah,
let's.
I don't think Trevor Story is gonna be a needle mover for you, but
Yeah, but dude. It's
I could
just
be
like
wrong.
I don't know.
Do you,
He's like
do
my
you
for
have any
some reason,
socks?
huh? Yeah, I got.
Do you
Oh,
have any socks?
I took first pick was my boy
Oh,
or second pick.
crochet.
Second pick. No, second pick Roman Anthony, sorry. I picked him
Oh, okay.
early. I took him early. He was like
Yeah, that seems a little early.
yeah, it was like well I had yeah, I don't know. I just didn't think he was gonna be there, so I wanted to take him. So I wanted to
Fair
get a
enough.
guy I wanted to watch. I got Mookie too. Like I got guys that I
There you
recognize too.
go.
So yeah.
I'm gonna grab a hat, and then I'll be ready.
Okay. Cool. I want to look at the rest of my team while you're standing. What's up, chat? Chatters are flown in. We always have someone on Twitch. Someone on whoever's on Twitch, you should like comment. Say what's up. I think it's
You
Alex,
talking
but I
to?
don't know. I'm talking to whoever's on Twitch. There's always someone on Twitch,
Oh.
and I just wanted in the comments so we could see who's on. Because like,
Is it
there's
our
always
boy? Didn't we have like a Dutch guy at one point?
there's a Dutch guy. I think it's my boy Alex Queckie, who I used to work with, but I don't know because he
Okay.
told me he used to watch on Twitch, and but it's always one person that's on Twitch every single episode, and honestly, even when there's no one on YouTube, like there's always someone on Twitch. So shout out that guy.
Interesting.
Um,
You're a
I wanna now
dedicated
read off.
fan.
I'm gonna save it for the baseball section. We can read off my team
Okay.
more off. Help me out. All right.
That'll be an exciting conversation.
Yeah, I know. People are gonna love it. Oh, Gigi's coming in right for the start. Nope, never mind. All right, let's get started in three, two, and one. Hello and welcome to Wise Guys Podcast. I'm your host, Brady Fitzgerald, joined as always by my co-host, Chris Hagan.
How you guys doing?
Doing great, Chris. We kind of have a smorgasbord of a podcast today. I'm kind of excited. We're touching
We
on
do.
a lot of sports here.
That time of
First,
year.
yeah, it is that type of year. And first, we're gonna touch on the March Madness games that happened last night. The Sweet 16 has started, um, and then we're gonna be talking about NFL's new opening game, opening day for baseball, a couple things in the NBA, and then we'll wrap it up. It's all Friday. So Chris, last night, um, we we correctly predicted that Purdue would win um, against Texas. I'm just saying that because I posted it as a TikTok today this morning, so go check out that TikTok if you haven't already. Um, but Purdue versus Texas was actually a very close game, and it really showed. I think I'm just diving right into it. It really showed on Purdue's side the level of honestly like expertise that they have in college basketball because they are the most ticky tacky team I've ever seen play a basketball game. That it almost got hard to watch at some point where it seemed like Purdue was at the free throw line every time that they were down the field, and it wasn't like it wasn't their own fault. Like they were getting fouls and
Mhm.
they were moving their body correctly. They were playing the system and they were getting foul calls and they were getting exactly what they needed to. Um, a thing that sums up this game for me is a play. I think it was early in the second half. It might have been late in the first half. Purdue player pushes a Texas player into his own Purdue teammate, and the foul call goes on the Texas player. And now the Purdue guy is at the free throw line. Like that is the level of chicanery that Purdue was producing here. And it really does make me think that they can win the national championship just because of the level of I mean, it's like Zach Edey's still there.
I thought you were gonna talk about the play where this was late in the second half though, where Braden Smith drives to the basket, picks up his dribble, and shot fakes no less than 7 times, and
Hmm.
eventually goes up and gets the foul. And the announcer was like, "Oh, like he can't foul him there." And I'm like, "It's pretty hard
Yeah, how do
when
you
it's
not
just
foul him
like,
there?
oh, oh, oh,
Yeah,
oh."
Yeah, and
It was
he's like
like they were playing one-on-one, and he's just like, "Well, I got nothing to do here. Like,
and
I
he
gotta
was
just
like a
keep making this."
ballerina on his pivot foot. Like, he's like he might
Yes.
as well have been a flamingo out there. And it was honestly but that type of shit's impressive, honestly. Like, that type of stuff, it's annoying to watch. It's hard to watch basketball like
Mhm.
that because that game, the Nebraska-Iowa game was started after that game had tipped, and it ended before that game had tipped. Well before that game or not sorry, not
Yes,
tipped,
it did.
but ended.
Well, it felt like the last 10 minutes, there were so many fouls. You had, like, the dueling guys that were, like, ready to foul out.
Mhm.
It was just like every guy that picked up a foul was like, and that's it foul. Dude, the guy Heidi on Texas had 5 fouls in the second half alone. It was absurd. He had 4 fouls by the time there were like 7 minutes left in the game.
In this game, there were, um, 35 free throws attempted in this game. Purdue had just as many three-pointers as free throw attempts, which I guess isn't terrible. But, um, yeah, it was an impressive showing by Purdue, honestly. I it was like, damn, 'cause Texas was right in there. Like, kept responding, they kept
Yeah,
hitting the right shot, and then they
I
caught
will
up
say,
right at the end. Or
I
sorry, they
I
took the
definitely
lead at
walked
the
out
end.
of this game. I walked out of this game feeling a lot less confident about Purdue, though, I will say.
I mean, a
Because
big
as
man
we've
comes
talked
up.
about, like, yeah, like I don't think Texas is that good. And the guy Mark was like kind of on one leg, and it felt like he had been their best player in the tournament, and they still like had to beat them at the buzzer to win. Um, I don't know. It's kind of like they're a team that you trust in a really tight game, but I feel like Arizona might just whoop them.
I think this is
Arizona just
I
feels like
agree,
such a
where if you get a
wagon.
lead on this team, it's not like you're in a worry that they're gonna have a run that brings them back into it. Is that what
Mhm.
you're trying to say? Where like you can trust them in a close game. If they have the lead and they can control the way that the game's being played, then they're gonna be good. But if, as you
Yeah,
said,
I'm saying like a game that's like down to the wire, like that's when like experience and free throws and getting in the line and that kind of stuff matters a lot more. But like Arizona gets up 10 and is able to just maintain that lead, then
I
I
agree.
feel like
I
it'll be
completely agree.
a pretty
Yeah,
easy win for
they're
them.
gonna swallow them up too with their size, honestly,
Yeah.
which is gonna be a problem for them. So let's go to the Iowa Nebraska game. Um, I sadly was locked into the Texas game. I'm not gonna lie. They sadly the two good games were at the same time, and the two bad games were at the same time last night. So
Yes.
I picked my poison. I tried to watch both the last games too, and I was like, oh okay, I can try to do this. And then both games were trash, and I was like, well, what's even the point of doing this? So I missed out on this one, but uh, did you catch any of this game?
I mean, I had it on like had both of them on down the stretch, like the last couple minutes. But yeah, for the majority of the second half, watching the tech. But this one, like, it was back and forth literally the whole game.
Mhm.
Like, I think Nebraska jumped on him early and like was hot, really hot from three. But for the most part, it was within 5 points the whole game. Um, Nebraska just went ice cold down the stretch. Like they were, Sanford hit a three to put them up three, like 65-62, I want to say.
Yeah.
And they didn't score for 5 minutes.
Mm.
And it's pretty tough to win a game when you go on that kind of stretch late in the game. Um, and then, of course, there was the horrendous play where they're down six, they hit a three with a minute left, and then
Oh,
on
they
the
have four
inbound
players.
pass, they have four guys on the floor.
I did see that.
And I would just have the guy streaking down, like they just like football throw it down to him. Like, how does he get that wide open? On that kind of, like, how do you not have somebody back there? Like, we work on this when we're 9 years old, practicing the press, and then they show the replay. Like, they had four guys on the floor. It's tough too. Like, Hoiberg's done such a good job this season, and has like it's very hard to win basketball games at Nebraska. They were a 4 seed this year. They literally have never won a tournament game. He's won 2 of them this year. So that's kind of a tough way to go out. Not
Dream
that like,
season though.
oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, you take it. It is a brutal ending. I agree, though. I mean, like it's the worst ending that you could possibly have drawn up, honestly. So
Yeah, I mean it's at least it wasn't like a tie game because like they probably don't get a steal there. So like
yeah,
Iowa
yeah, it could be over
probably
anyways.
properly inbounds the ball. If they get a bucket, then you're down 5 with 30 seconds left. So like it's not like that 100% game, but it was upsetting certainly.
I gotta say, this is a great look for Benedict Ertz. Is that how you say his
Hurts.
last name? Yeah, he's really he was in draft boards already, and now this tournament he's gonna be flying up draft boards. I don't know. He maybe he finds himself in the lottery because of this little run that he's putting on. So good for him.
Really?
Yeah, no, he's like he was flying up draft boards the past couple rounds. So I wouldn't be surprised if, he keeps going up. I mean, it's crazy. He is a senior, but he's having a great season.
He's 22 and he's 6'4".
Hey,
Doesn't sound like an NBA draft pick.
that's true. That is true. But a hooper's a hooper, man.
I guess. I
Maybe
guess.
not the lottery. The lottery might
There's
be
no
might be a
way
little
he's a
much.
lottery pick.
But first round, definitely. I've already seen him mocked in the first round.
Really?
Yeah.
That's hard. Good for him. That's just pretty surprising to me.
Hey, we'll have to see. I could be dead wrong. I'm pretty sure I saw um, good projections for him. Um,
Let's see. I almost don't believe it.
I'm making sure right now. I'm looking to see what they say. Yeah, mid to late first round.
Wow. Oh, good for Ben Sturridge. Yeah,
20,
22
23,
overall on the big board.
16, 19, 19.
All right.
Yeah. So good for him. If he keeps playing, I mean, if he plays in the final four, I mean, that could be even inflated. You know how this
That is
gets.
true.
You know how this
Oh, I
gets.
know. I know.
All right. Let's keep going to the later games of the day. Not as fun later games. I was really excited for these games too. Illinois Houston was just almost unwatchable. I mean, that shit was so brutal. What was it? What was halftime? 24-24? Yeah, 24-22. And then like the Cougars made it a game at the end, like a 10-point game. They made it respectable, but all of a sudden it was 24-22 at halftime, and then it was like 44-22. It was like it was Illinois just scored 20 points without Houston even blinking. And that was the biggest fear of this game, where Houston's defense can hold them for so long, but their offense could, the second that they let up to Illinois, they were never going to come back in this game, and that's exactly what happened. Um,
Yeah.
so that, I mean, I can't give you any more details than that. I kind of stopped watching. I just started scoreboard watching. Um, the Razorbacks, they were really fighting in that first half. It was like they got down early and they were like, all right, maybe they can make this a game. It was a 9-point game at halftime, and it was like, or 11-point game at halftime, and it was like, man, it- it's there, but like you could tell, like it was pretty much over. They didn't have the size to compete with Arizona. Arizona was getting every bucket too easily. Um, I mean, Arizona. Shout out Nick Pringle, first game of the tournament for him, former Gamecock. He was on Arkansas. Just we'll see him
There you
out
go.
there. But yeah, the Arizona kind of bullied him. And Braden Burries talked about draft stock rising. He might have beaten out Acuff in his for that fifth spot in the NBA draft. So this tournament's been fascinating. I wish this game was closer, but it was still like Acuff still had 28 points. He was doing everything. He couldn't hit a three. He hit one three early in the game and could not hit another one to save his life. Um, but yeah, so there goes Arkansas. Um, we kind of like the closer this game was coming up, the closer I was like, oh, they're really like Arkansas is gonna win this. Like, Acuff's gonna really carry them. And the second the game really tipped, it was like 5 minutes in. It was like, yeah, you could tell Arizona's gonna
Yeah, yeah.
win this one.
It is insane that Arizona scored 109 points on 5 3-pointers.
There was no rim. They just kept going to the basket over and over and over again. It was too easy for them. So tonight, we have some great games. I looked again at the DC tickets to see if they went down. It's still like $380 to get into the door
Dude,
for tickets.
it was like $500 before the tournament for the whole weekend, which now
Still
looks
is.
like a steal.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say that does look like a steal.
Like with these games tonight, got like Patino against Duke, and then UConn, Michigan State, and then an Elite Eight game Sunday.
I mean,
I don't know which
yeah.
I just
These could.
bought
I know these could have been the best games of the damn tournament, or these can be the
Yeah.
best games of the damn tournament. I mean, I would like to do a preview of these games. By the time you listen, these games have already happened. So, you want to just do a quick little four game prediction?
Uh, sure. I like my gut. Well, not my gut. My heart really wants St. John's, and
Yeah,
I think it would be so fun to have Patina go on a run. But I think after last night and seeing what Arizona did to a team that we were excited about, I kind of feel like Duke could maul St. John's. I think Michigan's going to stomp Alabama. That one I have
that one
not
we agree
wavered
on.
on. I like Michigan State against UConn, and I like Iowa State to beat Tennessee. All the favorites. I guess Michigan State's a slight underdog.
I like
Yeah.
I like Duke. I do. It does. I agree. Yesterday is makes me timid on the sneaky guards and the sneaky upsets that could possibly happen.
Yeah.
Um, I
But
do.
who
I
knows?
like.
Like, it's not like we do have to be careful, like extrapolating results to every region because I don't think Duke's as
Yeah,
good as Arizona. To be honest,
I agree. No, because they don't have a Burries like Arizona does.
they have a boozer.
Yeah, but Boozer's more like their Koa Pete, no, and they're Braden Burries.
Yes, I was just I thought you were
I'm just
talking
talking
about just
about
like
like for positional wise.
yeah, positionally, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. Um, so like that's I mean like their point guard play is better Arizona wise than Duke wise.
Correct.
Yeah.
But as far as like talent, they're pretty close.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Because having Boozer is being the best player on the floor during that
Yes.
game. Yeah. The so I think I agree with Duke. I agree with Michigan. I think Michigan's gonna maul Alabama. I'm gonna pick out that spread for yeah. Actually, after we end
Well,
the
the
pod.
spread's 9.5. The total's 172.
Holy crap! Yeah, they think Michigan's gonna blow them up.
And honestly, don't hate the over.
I would do that with Michigan State minus 9.5 then, because if that hits over, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a blowout.
Well, I don't like if Bama's gonna have any chance, they're gonna have to put up 100.
Yeah, but it could end like Arizona Arkansas. That's what you want.
No, I know, but I'm saying like it doesn't necessarily have to be a blowout to hit that
I get what you
over.
mean. I get what you mean.
Alabama, if they're gonna win, it's gonna have to be like 100 to 95
That's true.
because they will not slow Michigan. It is impossible for them to slow Michigan down.
I hope
It
somebody
is.
hears this and it's like they win by it's like a nasty score too. It's like they
That
slow
would
them
be
down somehow.
hilarious.
Um, I agree with that. I honestly I don't think that's a bad bet at all. Um, all right, and then I'm going UConn. I gotta go UConn. I'm
I
repping.
figured you would take UConn,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm going UConn here.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I got my Canada on. I wish this game wasn't at 9:45. It seems a little
I
silly. It
know.
seems a little silly.
It is Friday, but like I fall asleep.
I know. I don't want to. Yeah. Um, and then I'm gonna go Tennessee. Give me a little upset here. I don't know anything about
Okay.
Iowa State still, so um, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I know that their best player's been injured. I don't know if he's back for this game or not, though. So bad analysis by me, but that's what you're gonna get.
When
Um,
Maryland's better, I will know more about college basketball.
same with the Gamecocks.
I'm comfortable admitting that I don't follow it when my team's not good.
Oh yeah, I mean, we started the season with I was so excited because I love the casualness that I have of college basketball.
Yes.
Um, all right, so that's what we have. Speaking of our teams, by the way, Lamont, it seems like whether it's his choice or not, clearing house. We have a lot of players leaving, and that's
Okay.
fine with me. This and I hate to be on this on this side because I have full faith in Lamont. I always have, always been on his side. If you've listened to the pod, um, and if you've seen me around South Carolina, you know the he really needs to have a good recruiting class this year, though. It's really like if the roster is not good this year and the team is not good, it's just going to be it's going to be hard to find reasons of why it's hard to put that like think about a business here. It's hard to put that on a chart here. We need elevation here. And it last this year was better than last year, so there's that. But we need to keep improving here, and I think it's possible. I think there's going to be a lot of changes. I think they've learned that they need a lot of big men. Hopefully, they've learned that. Um, so yeah, hopefully a lot of changes coming to Gamecock basketball. But that's all I have. There was no. I guess everyone's only entering the transfer pool at this point. Nobody's committing to
Yeah.
any schools. So
I don't want to say this, but I feel like I have to. Is the clock ticking?
that's kind of what I was implying.
Yeah.
The seats are kind of getting heating up a little
Yeah.
bit, and and
It's
that's
like
what I like. I don't want to say, and I don't want to say it. I don't want to be the guy who's like 'cause looking at the South Carolina fan base wanted him out the second he was hired. So the hot seat's always been on. But like on a non whatever you want to call it, uh like fan with like a normal fan timetable for giving a coach plenty of
yes.
time, we have now entered that timetable of this
Correct.
has now been plenty of time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think the seat's getting warmer, sadly. And I hope I hope it's never scorching hot to the point that the seat's now empty. So I hope that he can cool it down.
It is exciting to fire a coach and hire a new one, especially in college.
It is, but I don't know. I have a personal bias here with this Lamont thing. So I love those. I love
I'm not
those
saying
guys
you
that we
should
have.
or should like I would I am pretty
I
like
get the appeal though. I know what you
with my
mean.
college coaches, I'm pretty lenient. Like I'm just this year, it was the first year that I'm like truly out on Loxley. And I feel like there have been people out on him for several years now.
Yeah.
Um Hergen, I was always willing to give some leash. I did eventually turn on him. I think I actually caused him to quit because I booed him at that
It's like,
game.
oh, my last supporter.
Yeah.
He was like, shit. Oh man.
It
Yeah, no, I
was
don't know.
Beamer
It's
and
tough. Like you I don't know. I've been at bat with this guy for a long time. So I'm gonna continue to be at bat. And I'm not swaying my bat, but the I hope that I'm not the last batter. That's all I'm hoping. I'm not the last
what
batter.
about
So
Beamer?
we talk about Beamer later. I'll say one thing. I'm not batting for Beamer. That much. There's a rotation. There's plenty of people batting for him. Trust me. He's got plenty of supporters, but
Yeah.
I am not in that line. I am not in that rotation. Um, but it's not that I want him gone. It's not that I complete like I hate him or anything, but I
Yeah,
will not be
right.
batting for him
Yeah.
when the time
That's fair.
comes. Um, all right. Let's keep going. We're gonna
All
really
right.
quickly. We'll see how long. Really quickly. You know how this pod goes. We're gonna talk about the NFL opening game. They decided they're gonna take a Wednesday from us now on the opening day, um, opening week, and it is yet to be confirmed. So the schedule we looked it up, so we're in full clarity. Is Wednesday Seahawks will be playing what the Niners? No, not the Niners. We didn't
No,
see
we
who
don't know
they.
yet.
Okay, the Seahawks will be playing, and they'll be playing on Wednesday, September 9th, and then on September 10th. the 49ers and Rams will be playing in Australia, 10:30 a.m. Australian time, which is 8:30 our time. Um,
Yes.
this so my thoughts of this initially was anger, and I've settled down. I need to know if there's going to be a Friday game. If there's going to be a Friday Brazil game, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to freak out. I'm going to freak out. I can't have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday college football, Sunday. I can't do it. I can't.
I agree. I
I
agree.
need to I need to have some time. What what are we supposed to do here? I can't. I don't know. I hate this. I don't like
It
messing with
feels it yeah, it
I don't
feels
like messing with it.
pointless without the Friday game, though. Like, why are they just trying to give more time to for the teams to get back
Well,
from Australia? Because it's a
I
pretty
think the
long
NFL
trip.
got in trouble with Friday stuff
They got
because
in trouble
because
from who?
high school football, I think it's like a
Yes.
US law that like high school football is like supposed to be like the only televised football on Fridays. I swear to God.
That's a law?
There's something close to it. Let me look.
I mean, like, I agree that you should not infringe on high school or college football for that matter.
Hmm. Fans televise NFL games within 75 miles of high school or college games. That's why they went to Brazil on Friday nights and Saturdays from the second
Oh,
Friday in September through the second Saturday in December. It's called the
scumbags.
Friday Night Lights Law. And I googled the Friday Night Lights Law, just assuming that that was the name, and I nailed it.
He shoots, he scores.
Yeah. Um,
Nice job.
it's the official name is formally it's actually so that is the official name. The formally it was called the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961. The GOAT JFK signed it. Protecting the youth from the
Yeah,
greedy
nice.
NFL that's coming in and taking our youth football away from us. This is so now basically what I'm getting at is Roger is like we have to take another day though, so we have to now take Wednesday. And
I was gonna say it sounds like another JFK conspiracy. So maybe the NFL was behind.
we got to look deep and see what Roger was doing
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
1969, 8.
Next
When is that? I forget.
next Tuesday on the Wise Guys podcast
It's us and Pablo
was the
Torre.
NFL. Yeah, yeah, right.
Um, so I don't know. I guess if there's no Friday game, I guess I'm not too mad. But I think I don't like messing with what my norms are here. Why like there's gonna be a game in
No, I don't
Australia.
either.
Are the players gonna hate it? I think the players like feel like the players are gonna hate that. Why would they want to play in Australia at 10 in the morning and then have to play NFL
Yeah, it
football
sounds awful.
probably like 8 days later? No, I don't know how it's gonna work. So a lot of travel. Like I think it's like a 20-hour flight. It just seems like a
I I almost would prefer them to do the Australia game Wednesday and just get
that's
it
what I
out of the
thought.
way. It's
That's what I
like
thought they were
almost like a
doing.
fake opener.
Yeah,
Like, this is the opener, but it's not really the opener.
that's what I thought they were gonna do. And then Thursday's the real shebang. Where it's like Thursday's the
Yeah,
real deal. This is like a
and it gives them more time to get back too.
that's what I thought. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I
Okay, we're
so
on the
I
same
think
page there.
because I thought originally that the game was on Wednesday, the Australian one, and then I was like,
Yes.
oh, so I just think it's more of a mess than it is worth. More of a problem than it is.
Australia doesn't need our football.
Yeah, they're gonna care.
Like, I like Australia, I guess. I have no reason not to, but they don't need our football,
Crikey.
and I don't and I don't need them watching our football.
Do they care? Like, is this like
I'm sure some of them care, but like, do the Germans care? We're playing games over there too.
I don't know. I guess so.
I mean, London gets 12 games every season. Do they care?
Clearly enough. I don't know. I think it's silly. It's just something else the NFL is gonna get. The NFL's so good
Yeah.
at what they do, man. It's just gonna eventually. It's like every day. It's gonna be like there's no other sports on. It's just gonna be the NFL.
There's, yeah, 64 teams that play
Two
year round.
2 seasons, yeah, 2 seasons. Um, all right, we can move on from that. We were gonna do some free agency stuff. I mean, they're really like you want Jerome Ford. I think we did that last episode too. I think I made the same joke. I really don't know what else to do.
I think we made the joke. We never did discuss the Jerome Ford signing, though.
Okay, I do gotta say, is this me? So Love, you guys out on Love? I mean, you guys signed like 5 running backs.
Yeah, I don't think that Jerome Ford is going to prevent them from taking a running back,
No, I agree. So I was
or Rachaad
discussing this.
White or
Let's
Bill.
let's
Like, they signed bodies, but
let's let's actually talk about that right now, though. I was talking about this
okay.
with my uh security guard who's a Commanders fan, and I came in, I walked up, and I was like, "Look, I'm convinced the Commanders should take Jeremiah Love," and he's like, "Nah, nah, 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 nah." Tried to convince me otherwise, and he was basically just bringing up all the points that everyone's making of a first round running back of look at all these other teams and stuff like that.
And they're
I'm under
perfectly
the belief
valid, and we forget it every single year.
of I just want to see you guys with a fun offensive player next to
I
Jaden
know,
Daniels.
I know. I think
Um,
I would not be surprised if they take a receiver. Like, I
Tate,
would be on board for Tate or Tyson. Like, Tyson might be better than Tate, but the injury stuff is weird. And then I haven't read too much into the receivers yet because I was so set on defense. And now that they've signed like 6 edge rushers, I think I want a receiver.
So, okay,
So
that's
I
kind
need
of
to do my
we don't
homework.
need to do I was gonna say, we don't need to do the homework yet, but so are you leaning towards like, what if it's a trade down and then like an offensive position at like say 14 or 12 or something?
That would be great. I'm not gonna expect to trade down. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know who would trade up for anybody, to be honest.
agreed. The weird draft. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of trades. All right. I think that's honestly all we need to hear about them. Let's move on from the NFL. Let's go MLB, baseball. Chris, let's
Baseball's back.
yeah, baseball is back. Let's do what we normally do. Tell me actually I have something where I want to start with. The Orioles
National
um
team. Oh,
projected to be a lot better than they were last year. Projected to be actually a really good team in baseball. I know they
yes.
got Pete Alonso is like the big name. Um what else happened for the Orioles and why are they projected so much better?
Well, I think part of it is just that last year everything kind of went wrong for them. So I think even if they kept the same team together, that they would be due for some improvement. Um, they had a bunch of injuries. They had guys that just like forgot how to hit a baseball. They had like basically no pitching at all. So they definitely made improvements though. Like Alonso obviously was the big signing. They also traded for Taylor Ward. They gave up Grayson Rodriguez, who was like one of their best pitchers in kind of a weird move, but a guy who's had struggles with health before. So that seemed kind of weird at the time, but he definitely adds a lot of pop in their lineup. So I think their lineup will definitely be better. Um, it kind of depends on like what does Adley Rutschman look like because he's one of those guys that it seems like he's forgotten how to hit a baseball. Um, like Gunner's going to be good, you know that. Um, the starting pitching is like it's solid enough that it's going to keep them in games. They don't really have an ace. And then, well, I guess if Trevor Rogers is as good as he was last year in the second half, then they definitely have an ace. But I definitely wouldn't bank on that. But they have a bunch of guys who would be like a solid 2 or a 3 in a rotation. So not going to blow you away, but definitely good enough to win games. And then their bullpen has pieces, just not a lot of depth. Um, but yeah, I honestly I think the biggest thing is just last year was a horribly unlucky year for them, and
And
they
it seems they got two decently sized players, like big time ish players.
yeah, like they I would imagine they would go like around 500 this year with no improvements from last year, and they did get better. So I wouldn't be shocked if they won 90 games. Definitely wouldn't be shocked if they made the playoffs. I don't necessarily expect it, but they're definitely good enough to do it.
Okay, so now that the local team and the hype that I've heard is out of the way, what teams do you expect to make the playoffs? What are the favorites here for the World Series besides the Dodgers? And what is why who's gonna beat the Dodgers? Why shouldn't I be betting on the Dodgers at plus 100 to win MLB World Series? It's
No,
not actually
they
plus. I'm just
yeah.
kidding. It's
I
not
think
plus
it's like
100.
+3, which is still
Oh,
kind of crazy. You didn't want to ask about the other local team? You don't have any attitude?
is there an attitude? They are 1-0. They're above 500 for the first time since 2024, right? Or 2020, maybe even earlier. But the first time they're over 500 for the first time in a long time. Um,
It's funny.
was that just a joke? Is there no
Yeah,
attitude?
no, they will be dreadful.
Okay.
I think they like brought in a new head of baseball ops. They actually poached a guy from the Phillies to run their analytics department, who we were kind of upset about. So I think they're almost like the Wizards in a way, where they just tore everything down to the studs at this point. But
DC
they've been a mess.
tradition.
Yeah, right. Since they won the World Series, so gonna be a long, at least 2 years for them probably. But you have James Wood, who's fun. All right, enough of them. Teams that could beat the Dodgers in the NL. I don't think the contenders are that much different from last year. Other than I don't expect the Mets to completely collapse again because they added a ton of guys, and almost by default, it feels like they have to make the playoffs, even though I don't know how much faith I have in that, and I'm obviously super biased. But I think the Mets are the only team in the National League that has really like entered the conversation that wasn't in it last year. I normally would say the Braves because they've kept that roster together, but they literally have no pitchers right now. They're all getting hurt. So they have Chris Sale, who's like 38 years old and who's been awesome the last 2 years. But their next two guys are studs and they're both hurt already. The one guy, Spencer Schwellenbach, got hurt at the end of last year, and then there's Spencer Strider, who got Tommy John 2 years ago, came back last year, was not good, and then this spring he was throwing like in the low 90s, and he usually throws like 99,
Oof.
and then they put him on the injured list right before the season started. So they're in a weird spot. It just seems like there's horrible vibes in Atlanta, so kind of a bummer, but not really. So, and then obviously you have the Phillies in that division as well, who should be contenders as long as they stay relatively healthy. Like there are definitely concerns about the lineup. Like you have a core of players who's definitely getting older. Schwarber's probably not going to hit 56 home runs again. Trey Turner's probably not going to hit 320 again. Um, but their starting rotation is just so damn good that they should absolutely make the playoffs. And then who knows? I think the Dodgers have kind of a cakewalk in the West. I think the Padres could make some noise because it feels like they always do, but they're never on the Dodgers level, it feels like. And then the Giants and the Diamondbacks are both pretty mediocre in my eyes. The Rockies obviously are the Rockies. And then you have the Central where you have the Cubs, who everybody loves. I don't think the Cubs are any better than they were last year, to be honest. They lost Kyle Tucker, replaced him with Alex Bregman in their lineup, which is a downgrade. And then they brought in Edward Cabrera in their starting rotation, who's like high ceiling guy, but never really put it together with the Marlins. So even if that really works out, they're kind of like decent everywhere. So they'll probably win the Central, but I always feel weird betting against the Brewers because the Brewers seem to always win 90 games with whatever slop they throw on the field. They traded away their best pitcher, um, and one of their best guys, Jackson Chourio, just broke his hand and he's out now for 2 months or so. So they will have like random prospects though that just turn into absolute studs for them, and then they'll trade them away before they can pay them. That's kind of how the operation works in Milwaukee. So there's no reason why the Brewers should win that division, but that's always like kind of my hunch that they'll find a way. Um, but yeah, so I guess to answer your question, I think the Phillies and the Mets are probably the only teams that are legitimate threats to beat the Dodgers. Maybe the Cubs. I don't know. I might just be a Cubs hater. But, like we saw the Brewers playing last year and it was a disaster. Um, we saw the Phillies playing last year and it was a disaster, but not because they got blown out in 4 straight games. It was just they had meltdowns in the first 2 games, actually. In 3 of the 4 games that they all lost, they had late inning meltdowns. Um, so
In Philly fashion.
yeah,
Not even
bullpen
just
gave up.
Phillies, but just every Philly team.
Yeah, I guess.
Besides maybe the Eagles. They don't really they're not
I
really
mean, the
like
Flyers
sports
don't
teams.
make the playoffs, so they don't.
Yeah.
I don't think they really count. Um, yeah,
Let's
that was sad. But regardless, the new year.
the can I pause on the Mets? Why are they now
Yes.
in the contention? What did they do to change up last year? What's the difference between the teams?
So I'll try to do this off the top of my head because they literally added like 10 new guys. Uh, they traded for Freddie Peralta, who was the best pitcher on the Brewers. So he's now the Mets number one. They have a pretty solid rotation. It's like him, David Peterson, who's fine, Nolan McLean, who's pretty young. He was on Team USA and he looks pretty nasty. Clay Holmes, who was hurt a bunch last year, but he's pretty good too. Kodai Senga, who also has health issues, but is nasty when he's healthy. So they definitely have like, and they have depth too in the minor leagues. So their pitching should be solid. They just don't have a dude. Like they don't have an ace. I don't think Freddie Peralta's that guy. I think he's really good, but I think he's a number two on like a real World Series contender. And then position player wise, they let Alonso walk, and then they traded Brandon Nimmo, their center fielder, to the Rangers for Marcus Semien, who's like think he's a 3-time All-Star second baseman, but is now on the wrong side of 35. He's
Oof.
getting pretty old. But then they signed Bo Bichette to play third base. They traded for Luis Robert Jr. to play center field.
You are killing
Who,
this, by the way.
what's that?
I said you're killing this, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Um, Luis Robert was a stud on the White Sox 3 years ago. Then there were all of these trade rumors with him. They didn't want to trade him. They wanted to extend him. He got hurt, played like 50 games, had a terrible season. Last year, same deal. Like they're shopping him, asking for way too much in return. He's not having a good year. And then he kind of turned it on like second half of the season. And then finally this offseason, they're like, all right, we'll trade him. Um, they were never going to extend him in the first place, I don't think, but they definitely could have just taken a little bit less when he was having an awesome season. So anyway, now he's in New York with a chance to, play for a real team and maybe bounce back, but he's definitely a wild card. Um, so I wouldn't say they're like banking on him to have a great year. Like I don't think him having a bad year like prevents them from winning games. Um, But if he does regain that 2023 form, I guess that's what it was, then they should be in pretty good shape. Um, and then they also signed Jorge Polanco, who was awesome on the Mariners last year, but has kind of had a ho hum career. Like he was on the Twins for a long time, was never really anything special. Like He's a fine player, had some good seasons, um, but I think he made a lot of money this past postseason, so they definitely overpaid for several guys, but they also have hedge fund money to burn, so, like, I feel like baseball is the one sport where you almost can't even criticize teams for overpaying because there's no cap, so it's like,
Want him to
owner wants to
overpay.
pay the money. Yeah, then they pay the money. And then they have this rookie, Carson Benj. I think that's how you pronounce his name, who homered yesterday. He's supposed to be a big deal. We'll see. Um, so a lot of new faces in the lineup. And then obviously they still have Lindor and Soto, who are both like at the top of their position in the game. So their lineup will be good. It's kind of like there are a couple question marks.
Seems like they gotta mesh together at some point too.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird, like, he just kind of threw a bunch of good players on the field together and see what happens, which is always interesting. It kind of felt like that's what the Rangers did in 23 when they won the World Series. So maybe it works for him. Um, I just don't know. Like, you lose a lot of home runs and RBIs when you let Pete Alonso walk. And they didn't really replace him. I guess maybe they recreated him in the aggregate, like the Moneyball line. But like Bichette's not a power guy. Polanco hits homers, but not like Alonso. Robert could be a power guy. We just haven't seen it in a couple years. So there's definitely a
And
lot of intrigue with the Mets.
did the
They also
Phillies add
lost their
anyone?
closer to the Dodgers. And then they went and signed Devin Williams, who was in Milwaukee for several years. He was really good. And then the Yankees signed him and he was ass. So that'll be interesting. They also signed Luke Weaver, who's also ass on the Yankees at the end of last year. So they're getting like the sloppy seconds from the Yankees, hopefully turning them around. I have more faith in the Mets to get pitchers right though. With they hired the Brewers GM a couple years ago, and that dude like I said in Milwaukee, they just churn out good pitchers. So that's what would make me nervous is that they do develop guys really well. Anyway, that's a long spiel about the Mets.
No, it seems like they had a busy off season, so it is
Very
and
busy,
you did
very
a
busy.
I'm surprised you got that all. I mean, like I was just looking and making sure that all the players were there. Yeah, you nailed it. Um, so what about the Phillies? I'm guessing not as many moves.
Total
Um,
opposite.
okay,
Total opposite. They traded away one reliever, signed another, and then they cut Castellanos and they signed Adolis Garcia. That was about it. They re-signed Schwarber. They re-signed Realmuto. They have two rookies who are going to play a lot, which is probably the most interesting part of their season. Dustin Crawford's their center fielder. He had 2 hits yesterday.
there you go.
And then Andrew Painter, who at one point was
Yeah,
like probably the top pitching prospect in baseball. He got hurt a couple years ago, missed the whole season, which sucked. And then last year he kind of got shelled in AAA, and now he's going to start major league games. So we'll see how that goes. He had a good spring, and he's got the stuff, but it'll probably be a bumpy start at least for him. He's their fifth starter. But yeah,
so
not a lot changed, which is why they should be good again because they won what 96 games last year.
yeah,
So
the
I don't know if it was that many. It might have been 93.
the AL. What teams could win a World Series against the Dodgers? What teams could make the World Series? What teams are in contention here in the AL?
Again, I think it's kind of a similar group from last year. I think you have some teams that are intriguing. Um, but I think the best teams are the Mariners, the Blue Jays, and the Yankees. I think the Red Sox are in the mix. I think the Tigers are in the mix. I think the Orioles are borderline in the mix. That would be my playoffs, those 6. Um,
Man, the AL East, man.
the
You
AL
think
East
ever
is
you
tough.
think ever slow down?
I mean, not real like, not when you have teams that spend money the way the Yankees and the Red Sox, and now the Blue Jays really do. So, I don't think the Blue Jays got any worse. It's just a matter of, like, can they recreate I guess they
World
lost
Series
Bichette.
hangover?
That's significant. Yeah, but they also added Dylan Cease to make their starting pitching a lot better. Um, but I find it would find it hard to believe if they don't make the playoffs again. Um, the Yankees were kinda like the Phillies where they just didn't really do much in the offseason. They have a couple interesting young pitchers though, like Cam
Shitler?
Schlitter and Ryan Weathers. That could like really elevate their pitching staff. I don't know what their bullpen looks like because, like I said, they lost a couple relievers to the Mets, but those guys also weren't great for them last year. And then the lineup is like almost the same. So they won 90 some games last year. So would be surprised if they don't make it back. Red Sox are definitely interesting because they did go on such a good run second half of last year. And you got to expect like you got a full year of Roman Anthony, who's probably going to be awesome. Um, like Aaron Duran is probably going to have a better year than he had last year. Uh,
People wanted him
like
so like exiled on Twitter.
I don't know why. Like I would have loved to trade for Duran. I thought that whole thing was weird. Traded for Caleb Durbin from the Brewers, who's a decent enough third baseman, I guess. Um, and then you got Ranger Suarez uh, to slot in behind Crochet in the rotation. I obviously love Ranger Suarez because he was a Philly. Um, he's never thrown more than 150 innings in a year. So that makes me a little bit nervous.
Mm.
But I love the guy. Obviously, I won't say anything additionally poor about him. Uh, Connolly Early, who's on my fantasy team, I have high hopes for. He's a young guy. So
He
I think
looks
their
super
lineup is
young.
going to be really, really good. Um, I think there are some questions in the pitching staff, but I think the expectation should be playoffs again. Um, then yeah, we talked about the Orioles already. That's the East. The rest of the league isn't super exciting to be honest. The Central, like I think the Tigers have a chance to be really good. Um, there I feel like there's just this like cloud hanging over them though because it's Scooble's last year of his contract and it's like a foregone conclusion that they're not gonna re-sign him. So
Hmm.
like if they're 500 at the trade deadline, they might just trade him, which would be upsetting. I hope that doesn't happen because I
And
think
that
he's
just puts
good
a
for
stink on the
Detroit.
season.
That would
Like
put a stink
from
on
the
the
jump.
season. Yeah.
Well, and from the jump already, like, going into it, as you said, there's a cloud over it.
Yes.
There's just
Exactly.
like that. You can't. I mean, any baseball team or sports team when one a good player like that is in that last
Mhm.
contract. That's why all those LeBron teams, it's like everyone's on nerves until the trade deadline, and then it's like the trade deadline passes, and they're like, oh, all right, we can finally like relax and play some games
Yes.
here.
I kind of think that's how it's gonna go. Like if it really will be like their season will be determined by how well they're playing at the trade deadline. Because they could get a huge haul for him for a like a contender that needs a starting pitcher. I mean, he is the best pitcher in baseball. Like there's an argument there, but it would be tough. But they could be really good. They should not be 500 at the trade deadline. They should be leading that division because that division is poop. Like the Royals are they're decent. They made the playoffs 2 years ago. Uh, I hate when teams like make the playoffs and have up and coming like really good players, and then they just don't do anything to get any better. Like them and the Reds make me so angry.
Classic NBA conundrum too. Happens all
Oh,
the
it's
time.
so annoying. I get like, yeah, it's frustrating. So, and like Bobby Witt is so fun to watch, and I just feel like they're not surrounding him with enough talent. So it's a shame. The Twins are dreadful. The White Sox are dreadful. Um, White Sox should win more games than they did last year, which is not
Didn't they win like 20?
asking. It's not asking much. The Twins should not. They traded away every player with a pulse last year, except for Byron Buxton, which is weird because he was like the guy who would give them the most value. Um, but yeah, they're probably a disaster. And then the West, I like Houston. I don't know. It felt like now that they've missed the playoffs, like their era is kind of over. But I wouldn't be shocked if they make it back. Like they still have a pretty damn good lineup if they stay healthy. Um,
What happened to
but
the
it does feel
Rangers?
like the Rangers.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think about the Rangers. Like ever since they won the World Series, they've just been aggressively mediocre.
Okay.
Their lineup stinks. Like that's
Did
who the
they
Phillies are playing this weekend.
did they lose a bunch of players
It,
from that? I mean, like I know that championship is now what, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So
yeah, not really. So Adolis Garcia, who's now a Philly, was like the hero of the postseason, and he kind of fell off a cliff the following year. Corey Seager's been injured a lot. He's their best player. Um, and yeah, I guess like some of their pitchers just haven't been as good. Like Nathan Eovaldi was their best pitcher that year, and he's been kind of mediocre since. John Gray was really good that year. So I think they had a couple guys who had career seasons that couldn't recreate them, and then a mixture of just health and like regression has made them a pretty mediocre team. But they still have Jacob DeGrom, who's awesome. They traded for Mackenzie Gore, who's really good. So they have a pretty decent pitching staff. I don't know what their bullpen looks like. The lineup was shockingly bad, I will say that. They also had some rookies that like looked really awesome at first, and now like they don't really know what to do. Like Evan Carter was like in the starting lineup as a rookie in the playoffs, and now he's like they can't play him every day. Um, Josh Young was supposed to be super good. He was that year, and now he's like, eh. So they did get a lot of contributions from rookies, which is not very common for a MLB team in the playoffs.
so I think the question that's on everybody's mind, it's on my mind every year. I feel like we talk about this every year. Lengthy discussion. Where the hell are the Athletics playing?
Where?
Yeah, where?
I think they're in Sacramento again, aren't they?
I don't know.
They're not in Vegas yet. They're
Okay,
still
so they're
building the
still not in
stadium.
Vegas.
Yeah,
And wait, what was the other team last year? Tampa Bay. Are they still in
Tampa.
this are they still in the spring training facility?
No, they're in a real stadium now.
Okay. That's good. Good for the Rays.
Yeah.
Um what about all right, I guess the only other team that you haven't talked about in this division and really the AL is the only team in the AL West with a win, the Angels.
I honestly couldn't tell you anything about the Angels. I don't know what they did. I know they traded for Grayson Rodriguez,
Trout's
and
still
traded away
kicking.
Taylor Ward. Trout's still kicking. He'll probably
How old
put
is
up
he?
great numbers in April. He's getting up there. He
You want to
did
make a
homer
guess?
yesterday, which was cool.
You want to make a guess?
I mean, he came up around Harper, but
I'll
he
give you an
was
over
older.
under.
He's probably 3 years older than Harper at that point.
Over under of
And
35.
Harper, he's probably older, right? Let me do the math real quick because Harper came up in 2011, I think, and he was 19. 15 years later, he's 34. The Trout's probably 36 or 37.
Actually, he's 34.
Trout is 34?
Trout is 34.
So he mu I didn't realize he was that young when he came up.
I'm
I
looking
thought
up
I
his
nailed
age, his
that.
rookie season. His rookie season, he was 20, 2012.
Okay. So
MLB
that's
debut,
where
he
'cause
was
I
19.
okay, yeah, I did not realize he was that young when he came up. Because that Harper was 9. So I nailed Harper.
I'm guessing.
'Cause I basically like that
No,
exact math.
Harper's 33. October.
Okay, well, but the same, like, I did the math for
You were doing
Trout.
the math correctly. Yeah.
I
You
said I
overestimated.
said 11, he was 19, and then yeah.
Yeah, you got it. You got it down. Um,
I thought Harper came up in 11.
it said his MLB debut was 11, but his
Okay,
rookie
so
season
I was
was
right about that.
12. Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
that's right.
all right. The so I feel like we've talked. Oh, actually, Ellie De La Cruz on the Reds. I feel like we always talk about him. What's up with the Reds?
They're another one that just bothers me. I don't think they
Aggressively
got any
mid.
better from last year. What's that?
That's a shame. I just said
Yeah.
aggressively mid with a question. Basically, as a question.
I mean, they made the playoffs last year. Um, oh, no, they signed Eugenio Suarez. I'm sorry, Reds.
Who's
That
that?
was a big signing.
Third baseman.
He's a power bat, third baseman, yeah. He was there for a while, actually, and then he
Yeah, I
went
was
to
gonna say the
Seattle
picture is he's
and
there.
Arizona. They traded him back to Seattle, and now he's in Cincinnati. So, I guess the guy knows what he wants. They did trade for Key Brian Hayes at the deadline last year, which was kind of a big move. I just don't think Key Brian Hayes is very good. He's a really good defender, but he's kind of a hole in the lineup. Um, their rotation was solid last year, so I would expect that to hopefully stand pat. Um, all right, I'm sorry, Reds. That was a good signing.
Are they in contention for anything besides a playoff spot, possibly?
Probably not. probably, probably a wild. Their win total is 80.5. Um, they could be a wild card team.
So,
Let's see: Dodgers, Phillies, Mets, Cubs. Yeah, the NL is not very deep. Maybe the Giants will be better than I think. Maybe they're better than I'm giving them credit for. They just have the Tennessee manager, which is kind of strange.
yeah, they've yet to hit a run against the Yankees and have now down 0-10 in the past 2 games. So, not a good start for them. But,
Yeah, that's
162
okay.
games.
It's early.
Yeah, I was gonna say 160 games to go.
The Nats beat the Cubs like 8-2 yesterday. So
Hey, there's an attitude out there. There's an attitude out there.
they all
Um,
count the state.
all right, Chris. So, give us your pick for the World Series. Pick for the NL or the AL, then the NL, and then the winner.
All right, in the American League, I'm gonna take Seattle to do it this year. They
They're
were so
due.
close last year.
They're due.
That damn George Springer home run in Game 7 against the Blue Jays was so sad. I genuinely think that they are the best team in the American League. The pitching staff, the bullpen, the line, like they can finally hit, which they've been so hard to watch the last several years. But like Cal Raleigh's not going to hit 60 home runs again, uh, but he's still Cal Raleigh. They added Brendan Donovan, who's kind of sick. Uh, they re-signed Josh Naylor. They still have Julio Rodriguez. So like they're actually a fun team now offensively, and they still have a pretty awesome starting rotation. So hopefully they trade for a couple relievers at the deadline to get him over the edge. But I want to believe in the Mariners this year to make it all the way. And then On the National League side, I'm taking the Phillies.
Yeah, yeah,
I am.
yeah.
I don't think I've ever done that
I don't think you have.
as an official prediction, but I am. It's it's about time. Like
Yeah, it is.
they can't not win with this group. So I
I
think
love it.
everything's there. Like they're no worse than they were last year. They've gotten so close so many times. Eventually it'll break their way.
And then obviously you're gonna pick the Mariners in the World Series, right?
Yeah, right. Phillies in 7.
That would be great. I think I mean just to have I mean the Phillies were what? They were in it. They weren't actually in the World Series, were they? Or were they?
Yeah, 22.
Okay. So to have them come back, to have the Mariners who have had such like a terrible historical
They've never
franchise.
made the World Series.
Yeah. So for them to make it, that would be a really cool World Series. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I would love to see I mean, I'm always rooting for your Phillies. I don't, I don't care. Of course, I like the Red Sox, but I don't care. So I would love to see the Phillies make it. I'm excited for to win to be on the sidelines of baseball. Like everyone else is watching it. I'll be the guy behind the guy watching it, and I'll be get the and that's what I love about baseball. So,
Yeah.
um, and I'll go. I'll probably go. Say 5 games. So we'll make our way to
Okay, that's a
Camden
healthy
or
amount.
yeah, yeah. We'll
Yeah.
make our way to Camden. I'll try to go to Philly. We'll go to some places.
The Red Sox playing Philly this year? Like every other year.
I, I don't
I
know.
remember. I think no, I think they play in Boston. Yeah, I think the Red Sox came here last year.
They play in Boston. I just saw it in the schedule. May 13th.
Okay.
That's a shame. Oh, they damn the Nationals play in Boston too. They must. I mean, I guess they play the Orioles twice, right?
They should play him twice in Baltimore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we were gonna do some NBA stuff, but I feel like that could do its whole episode. Like there's the whole expansion thing and everything, and we could talk about the league. The league is good right now, though. There's a lot of close East teams. Whenever there's basically how the NBA works right now is if it's a bad team, and this is gonna sound stupid, if it's a bad team versus a good team, the good team's gonna completely blow out the bad team, and it's not even gonna be close. Um, But if it's a good team versus like even like a mediocre good team, that's going to be a fantastic game. So if you check
Yeah.
the standings and the schedule and there's two close standings next to each other, I'd watch it if you're not doing anything else because it's going to be a fun game. The playoffs should be fun, and we can spend a lot of time talking about it. So we'll say that for another episode. Um, Chris, thanks for doing our MLB opening day. Always love doing this. Um,
Anytime. All off the dome for what it's worth. Did not
yeah,
think of any of that before. So
Nor did we even say we're gonna do an MLB preview. I mentioned like a quick little, hey, MLB opening day was yesterday. Um, so this was yeah, props to Chris. This was right off the dome. So we'll we'll see everyone next week, probably Monday. So thank you all for listening.